Hello everyone.
The innumerable activities of the college at the multiple levels that lead to the need for the student development cell as a point of convergence. It is dedicated to providing an array of services with a focus on the student's personal and academic development. Its cardinal objective is to disseminate all the information related to the college activities to the students. STC strives to recognize the diversity of the students and provide a confidential and caring environment. It is also endeavors to encourage their independent critical thinking and sensitize them to their rights and responsibilities, which is enable them to meet the challenges of the global competition. A very good evening to everyone present here. Student Development Cell of Ethiraj College for Women is hosting its first online webinar on the topic Eloquence, Key to Effective Communication, Becoming an Effective Communicator's Skills for Everyday Success. On behalf of our college, I, Lavanya S., President of Ethiraj Students Union 2020 to 2021, extend a warm welcome to our speaker for the day, Mr. Srigar T. Mr. Streaker is an engineer who started his skills as a soft skills and campus placement trainer, during which he traveled across South India and trained thousands of graduate students. After moving to TCS, he worked as a business analyst, corporate trainer, and is currently working as a product specialist. An ardent Toastmaster, Srikar was a chartered member of his home club and took up various roles vice president, public relations, and club extension chair in his tenure. He is also the first person from Nagpur to have contested in three district speech contests of the Toastmaster International. He believes in passion, patience, and perseverance, training, the Big Bang Theory, table tennis, and if left alone on a deserted island, he would prefer to stay with his dog forever. Welcome you, sir. I extend a warm welcome to our respected principal, ma'am, Dr. S. Kodai, heads of the department, and faculty members present here. I would like to welcome the brilliant participants who are here to take part in this webinar. I thank the principal and the management for giving this opportunity. Once again, I welcome you all.
Uh, Thank you so much for the introduction. Am I audible? Am I visible? Can someone just confirm, please?
Yes, sir.
Is my voice loud and clear? Is that a yes? Is my voice loud and clear? Are we
Yes,
good to
sir.
go? Okay, okay, wonderful. Thank you so much for the wonderful introduction, Etiraj. It's a pleasure being here on a Monday afternoon. Thank you so much. Now, before even we begin, before even I start my session, I would like all of you to do one small thing for me, one small task for me. All right, wherever you are at your home, college, or wherever you are right now attending this session, I would like all of you to take out your right hand or your palm and give a pat on your back. I really want all of you to do that for me. Please do it wherever you are. Come on, take out your hand and give a pat on your back. The reason why I'm telling we all should be appreciating ourselves is in these tough times, Etiraj has done some wonderful, it has taken up some wonderful initiatives and is pulling this huge session together, and it is not a very easy job to do. So be proud of yourselves for attending this session, for organizing this session, especially in these tough times. So thank you so much, Etiraj. Now, uh, when I was preparing, when I was thinking, what do we talk about this session about becoming an effective communicator, and all the essentials of communication or everyday success and all that. So one thing I definitely didn't want to do was to have a presentation. Now I'm someone who is this kind of not very comfortable with presentations. The moment when someone comes and presents something on the screen, I'm like, oh, okay, it better be good, it better be interesting and intriguing, or if it's just script on paper on slides, I'm not going to be very interested in it. So a Monday afternoon, classic timing by the way, a Monday afternoon, I'm not a huge fan of presentations, so I want all of you to sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're going to have some nice session. We're going to have some nice topics that we'll be covering, and we're going to learn from this session. We're going to learn a lot. All right. Uh, I'll include some stories in the session. To start off, I'll tell you all one story that really inspires me. All right, that really makes me think why communication is so very essential in this world, in today's world. Now, this is a very old story. This is also there in one of the South Indian films that I watched. So there was this king, and he was a very successful king for his kingdom. And he believed that whatever his wealth was, he was distributing to all the people in his kingdom, and he was doing a wonderful job. But then, on the other hand, when he goes around and looks, there's a lot of poverty in the kingdom. People are not healthy. There's no proper food for them. Somehow, there's a gap. He believes that his wealth is being distributed properly, but then other side, the other story is not. Now, what he does is he asks his ministers, "What is happening exactly? Where is the money going?" Now, this minister, a very clever guy, he demonstrates, instead of telling the king what exactly is happening, he demonstrates what exactly is happening to the wealth. So what he does is he brings a block of ice, a big block of ice. This is your wealth in your hands now, this block of ice. Now, can you please pass it to the next person? So the king takes hold of this huge block of ice and he passes it to the next person. And the next person passes it to the next person. Likewise, the block of ice keeps passing on, and then it finally reaches the last person of the kingdom. Now, what would happen by the time it reaches the last person? The block of ice, huge block of ice, would become negligible or, in fact, turn down into water and spill out. Is it? So that is when the minister says, "Your Majesty, this is what is happening to your wealth. When you have it in your hands, it's huge, it's humongous, and there's a lot of money. But then when it keeps going from one hand to the other, it just keeps it keeps getting diluted from one hand to the other." So now this story, I really link this, I really relate this to communication also in our everyday communication. Now, whatever we have, whatever is our message, our idea, our thoughts, especially what we have is this block of ice. Now, you want to convey your message, you want to talk about your idea, your thoughts to the next person. That is essentially communication, sharing of messages from one end to the other, sharing of ideas and thoughts. Now, how efficiently you can carry this block of ice from yourself to the next person is effective communication without loss of information in a proper time and the proper way. That's effective communication. Now, this block of ice that we all have is our thoughts, messages, ideas. Now, how do we effectively communicate? How do we effectively pass information from one person to another is essentially communication. All right. Now, I'll give you a small disclaimer, okay? I am not someone who has done masters in the language, who has a PhD in the literature, and I'm not someone from that background. I'm a regular engineer, and but then I always had a thing. I always was passionate about communication, and I ended up becoming a trainer, a corporate trainer. I've trained for a couple of years in TCS as well. Now, when I look back, when I introspect, when I look back, when did this all start, and how did I actually become curious about this? How did I start learning, or how did I become what I'm doing today? When I introspect, it goes back to my college days, like engineering college, around third year, second semester engineering. Uh, just the placements time. It was the fever. It was the festival of placement. Very common tip. A lot of people suggest, and a lot of us do. A lot of us don't do it also. All right. Reading newspapers. This guy comes and says, "Okay, you have to read newspapers. You want to improve your communication." Well and good. Noted. Now, second, this one more guy, in the same time, he comes and says, now you want to improve your vocabulary. You want to know the meanings of different words. You want to use them in your speeches and in your email, in your conversations. So you'll have to improve your vocabulary. That is what this guy says. And he says, so whenever you're reading a newspaper, reading any article, you might want to take down all the words that are difficult for you to understand. You want to write them down. You want to write down the meanings of these words, and then probably use them in your conversations and use them in your written or verbal communication. Okay, well and good. We've been doing that right since childhood. Second standard English, we all take down meanings. We'll all take down the difficult words and meanings before starting off in the blanks. Perfect. This guy comes and says, okay, you have to do that. Very good. So reading newspapers, writing down difficult words. All right. Now one more guy comes and says, write a letter to your friend. You should start writing letters to your friends. It is a very good habit. You can have a pen pal somewhere outside of the city and keep writing letters. Perfect, wonderful session. And then someone comes and says, you should talk to yourself in mirror. It builds confidence. You have to wake up every day, go in front of a mirror, and have a conversation with yourself in front of the mirror. It builds confidence and improves the communication also. Wonderful, again, brilliant tips. Now, all this were beautiful tips. If you're doing absolutely brilliant, I appreciate it. But I was kind of a lazy guy who was not very, he was not very particularly organized in those days. So it's not segmented. My day from this time to this time, I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that. It's not that sort. I was a student after all, an engineering student, third year engineering student. Now someone says read newspapers. Okay, all right. Back then we didn't have smartphones, so probably we read newspapers. But then what did we read? Sports columns, movie columns, and then headlines here and there, and then that's it. Then we run off to the college. And writing down words, difficult words, taking meaning. Come on, practically not possible for me. I could never do that. Okay, even if I written down some words, meanings of these words, how long will I remember them? You take out the word, you see the meaning of that word today in Google, and then tomorrow I ask you the same meaning. 90% chances you might have forgotten the meaning of that word. It's again a new word for me. So it didn't make sense to me. I write down words and use it in my conversations. It is not theory. It is not something you learn by heart and then apply in your exams. It didn't work for me. Right. And then writing letters to my friends, definitely not. It doesn't work. Again, practically, my friends were all very crazy, and if I all of a sudden write a letter to them, they would go even crazier. They would definitely go and put that letter on the notice board next day for sure in the college. So not going to happen. And then talking to yourself in mirror, okay, this thing is good. It's really good if you can do that. But again, I was staying in my house, and then a small house, not a huge house. I wake up in the morning and then I go in front of a mirror. Definitely people are around me, and then start talking to myself. It's not, again, it didn't work for me. It was not the most practical solution. So how did I actually, though these were wonderful solutions, wonderful sessions, if you're doing it, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But if you're not, the only ways you can actually build your communication or improve your communication or become effective at communicating. There are simpler and subtle ways, if I have to say, where you can actually get better at communicating and become an effective communicator. Now, what I did before I tell you what I did, or before I tell you what are the subtle ways where your everyday communication, let's go back to some theory of communication. Like I said, communication is essentially sharing of message, ideas, thoughts from one person to another, from source to destination. That is communication. But if you look at it from a broader perspective, there are four communicated, four different ways: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. Reading, writing, listening, speaking. Any message, source to destination, these four have to be there. Now, again, if I further classify them, reading and listening are my inputs. I read, I'm taking something into my brain, I'm listening to something, and again taking something into my brain. Reading and listening. Speaking and writing are the outputs. These, I'm writing them, I'm talking to someone, I'm giving my message to someone, either writing or speaking. Input and output. Now, you will not believe that which is more important. A lot of people think, okay, to become effective communicators, to speak better, to speak confidently, I'll have to speak more. I'll have to keep practice speaking. I'll have to go on stages, grab opportunities, speak. Yes. You keep getting that all that. A lot of people have told me also, you do that, do this, go on stage, talk to a new person, pick up a phone, call your friend, all that happened. But if you ask me, technically, input, the better the output. So a lot of us do not focus on input. A lot of us do not focus on input. We only focus on the output. We only think, okay, I speak more, I become better. No. Before that, you need strong input. So you listen more, you have more input, increase. Your output will automatically get better, isn't it? So this was a huge eye-opener for me. You listen more, you speak better. You read more, you listen more, you speak better, and you write better. Again, better input, better output. Nobody ever told me that, okay, you'll have to listen more so that you can speak better. Nobody ever told me. And this was an eye-opener for me. I realized this in all these days, in all these years that I've been with communication, and I've been improving myself in communication. I realized this, and out of introspection today, I'm telling you that it's very important. You listen more, you listen better, you speak better, for sure. And even a statistic says that of all these four parameters, reading, writing, listening, 50 to 60% of the pie chart. Remaining three combined are 50%. Due importance to listening. We always think, okay, I'll have to speak. I understand. You will automatically, without even putting much effort, you will automatically keep getting better at speaking. How did I improve my listening? How did I improve my speaking inadvertently by not doing much, just by giving focus to my input? How did I become special? All right. What I did was I read whatever was interesting to me. So a lot of people say, okay, go and read Economic Times, go and read this journal, that journal. All right. But again, when I'm reading them, my intention is to complete, because I'm not interested in that. It is not intriguing to me. It is not exciting me to read. So I've read that and I keep it aside. So that didn't interested me. I was interested in space and science fiction. I used to watch a lot of space adventure films also. So I started reading a lot about space. I started reading a lot about comets and the universe and black holes. So this was interesting to me. So when I read them, I was interested. But what I did differently was I was very curious when I was reading. When I was reading some good article, well-written blog, I just didn't focus on the content part. I just didn't focus on, okay, this is beautiful. This is the knowledge I'm getting. Okay, that's one part of it. The second part, or the other side of the coin, I was also observing how it was written. I was observing why a comma is placed where it is placed, why a semicolon was placed where it was placed, why the sentence is written in this particular way. Wow. And I started appreciating those articles and those blogs and those write-ups. Wow, it's a beautiful way. Such simple language is written so effectively. Wonderful. You take the knowledge and you also take inputs from a language perspective. That's amazing, isn't it? You read, you slightly just put some focus on how the particular article is written. You are, without even knowing, you're going to take a lot of inputs into your head, and you don't even have to put effort automatically when you're speaking and writing. These will come into action. Trust me. All right. Second is again while listening. Now, again, a lot of people have told me, you do that, you do this, you watch movies, you do this, you listen to TED talks, you listen to cricket commentary, all that wonderful tips. A lot of people have given. Now, again, while listening, I was again a bit curious. When someone uses a particular word, when someone uses a particular phrase, I was curious. It somehow went into my head and stayed there. Okay, wow, this guy used this phrase. Maybe if I don't know the meaning of it, curiosity will make you do anything, will make you go to any extent and you will learn it. So be curious when you're reading something or listening to something, you're getting the knowledge, perfect. Also be curious about the language perspective, why it is written or how it is written. You're going to learn a lot without spending extra time. With only day-to-day activities, you're going to learn a lot. So my take on this is be a curious reader and be a curious listener. Second, be a selfish reader and a selfish listener. A little bit of selfishness, no harm when you're reading and listening. It is for your own good. So remember, be a little curious when you're reading, be a little curious when you're listening to someone or something. Also be a little selfish when you're reading and listening so that you're taking inputs. And then, of course, you're going to go and practice, you're going to speak, you're going to write. These will automatically reflect in your outputs. All right? Be curious. It's a huge curiosity is amazing. You're not just for communication, but anything you're learning. If you're curious, there is no stopping. You're going to go deep. You're going to dive deep and go to the bottom of whatever you're learning, and you're going to become master it. Without curiosity, there is no mastery. You're just learning it for the sake of exams and completing your graduation. No, you be curious. You want to enjoy the journey. You want to enjoy the learning journey. All right. Okay. Now, as a South Indian myself, I faced a lot of challenges when I was trying to become fluent in my speaking. All right. So a lot of people have criticized me, criticized my accent. I was not very fluent. Again, this was out of introspection. I didn't apply any tools or techniques on how to do this. This was again a realization I had. When you speak in a particular language, when you speak in Tamil, which language do you think in? Now, speaking is a process. It starts here and it comes from here, right? Okay, some movie says it starts here, it goes here, it comes here. No. The process starts here, it comes out from here. All right. So when the process starts here, which language is the process starting? If you're speaking in Tamil, the process starts in Tamil, and then you're translating this process and bringing it out in the foreign language English. Now, same thing happened with me. I used to think in my mother tongue, and then I used to translate this process into the foreign language. This hampered, this hindered my fluency, and it didn't make me a confident speaker somehow initially when I was into the journey of learning about communication and becoming a better speaker. So this translation somehow didn't help me much. It not made me very fluent while I was speaking, and it also had a lot of fumbles in between and a lot of fillers, and somehow it was pulling down my confidence. Now that is when I realized when I'm speaking in my mother tongue and when I'm thinking in my mother tongue and speaking in my mother tongue, I'm very fluent. I don't need any suggestions. I don't need to do anything else. So when you're thinking in the language and speaking in the same language, perfect. You're going to have a lot of fluency added to your language. So the same thing applied for even English language. I started thinking in English. I started speaking in English, and there is no process of translation happening inside. So that saved a lot of time, and that increased my fluency. All right. So avoid translation. It's a slow process. It's not going to happen overnight. Okay. So I'm going to avoid translation. So I'm not going to translate starting tomorrow morning. It's not going to happen that way. Slowly and gradually, it's going to take time. So once you start stopping translating your thoughts from your mother tongue to English, automatically fluency will increase. So avoid translation. Try to think language you're speaking, and automatically fluency is going to shoot up for sure. All right. Excuse me. Now, one more thing I always, wondered is right since childhood when I was growing up, a lot of times there were these spoken English classes. Okay. I remember my mom used to go to the last 10 years, she would have gone 3 times. These classes are amazing. You go and sit inside spoken English classes, and these guys, these trainers or teachers, they come and write words, they come and write simple English words, and they ask you to repeat after them, parrot after them these words, and then that's how you learn the language. Now, this again didn't sync with my ideology. Now, I was thinking I need more input. I need very good input, very good source where I can learn from so that I can give proper input. Now, spoken English classes, that was not having proper inputs for me. I always wondered, why do they have only spoken English classes? Why not listen to English classes? Maybe that is what we actually need. Or not just spoken English classes, listen to English classes, and then these will give you wonderful inputs, and these will automatically enhance your communication, make you an effective communicator. All right. Okay. Now, one more thing I definitely wanted to address here is a lot of us think, okay, language might not play a huge role. Language might not be very important going forward. But I think that has two ways. Of course, language is important in future when you're going for your interviews, your higher education, jobs. India is a crazy country. All right, every 100 kilometers, everything changes. The food habits change, the language changes, and then the culture changes. A lot of things happen in 100 kilometers. So for us to be on a common ground, no matter where we're going, like I come to Chennai, I'm a stranger. You come to Hyderabad again, you're a complete stranger here, and we both go to north. That's it. Then it's going to be all the more difficult. So every 100 kilometers, a lot of things are changing, and probably we need a common ground, we need a middle ground, so where we can actually communicate effectively with all of us. Now, I work in a team where 50% are from Kolkata, 30% team from Chennai, rest from Nagpur, Maharashtra. So it's a mix of all these people. I work in such team, such diversity. I really enjoy working in such diversity because there's a lot to learn culture-wise, and then again, different perceptions about one common thing. So this diversity will give you a lot of experience, but you need to contribute to this diversity. You also need to mingle with them and probably come to a mutual ground and appreciate each other, and that will happen with some basic language skills. So you will need these language skills. All right. Okay. Now, when you talk about language skills, again, some personal experience I would like to share where I faced sort of a humiliation when I was traveling to the northern part of the country for the accent. We all have accent. We all have a little mother tongue influence. English is not our native language. We are non-native speakers of the language. It's a foreign language. All right. So a lot of people in India think English is the thing. English is the language, and then they fall in love. That's good. That's good. But still, it is a foreign language. End of the day, you're a non-native speaker of the language. Okay. So when I was traveling to the northern parts of the country, of course, each state has a different accent, different mother tongue influence. It's all there, but still, a lot of people, they made fun of me. They said, okay, your accent was this, your accent was that. Now, this is a very strange thing. I'm not sure why we are doing this. When Italian speaks English, they say it's very romantic. Wow, it's so beautiful. They have a huge accent. They have mother tongue influence, but then then we call it romantic, and then we appreciate it. But when we speak with our accent and with our mother tongue influence, then it becomes embarrassing. I don't understand why they are so hypocritical in these aspects. Okay, so I realized that of all the words that we are speaking, our mother tongue influence, comes out very, very strong in two kinds of words. You remember these two kinds of words. Words ending with the letter R, words ending with ed. Okay, past tense ed. Now, words ending with letter R, letter, water, speaker, all these words, ending with letter R, we tend to stress on the last syllable. We tend to emphasize more on the last syllable, and somehow our accent shows up when we are doing that. Our mother tongue is very evident when you're doing that. Now, so I realize what is the way. How do we maybe minimize it? We cannot part of the globe you go. You're in Indian. You will have some accent. You will have some mother tongue influence, and that's okay. That's completely okay. You only have to minimize it. You only have to make sure it is not distracting a listener. That's it. So I realized most of the time words ending in the letter R, you make the R sound almost silent. Your mother tongue influence or your accent is not coming into picture. I practice that. Let's say water. we stress on the R part. We stress a lot on water, the last R. But you tend to make the R silent or almost silent, and then you're going to actually pronounce it as per what people accept in the outside world, which is actually funny. So what make the R almost silent, not completely silent, almost silent. You eliminate that accent of what you're facing. Similarly, words ending with ed, walked, baked, or danced. All these words, past tense of the verbs, when you're ending these words in ed, there's again ed. You stress on it. Walked, danced. A lot of people. When I was training students from different graduate schools from Maharashtra or northern parts of the country to Kerala, south, down south, I observed these two very common terms: words ending with the letter R sound and words ending with the sound ed. So again, we tend to emphasize the ed part: walked, danced. A lot of people use this sound, you use this accent. So for letter R, you make the R sound almost silent, and for the ed words ending in letters ed, you try to make this ed sound as t sound, t, small t sound. Let's say walked. You instead of ed, you make the sound t, walked, or danced. Again, instead of ed, you make it t. These two compromise most of our accent or mother tongue influence. So slowly and gradually, there's a lot of other tools and techniques you can actually explore, and you yourself can find out how you overcome a particular accent, and then you can definitely become much more fluent, and your pronunciation is going to increase immensely. And once you get this pronunciation, and once you get the accent little less, then you're going to become very, very fluent, and you feel very confident when you're speaking. That is definitely going to happen. All right. So remember these two sounds, the R sound and the ED sound. These are simple tools and tricks that you can actually apply when you're speaking. To touch upon was a lot of people say, okay, what I'm speaking makes sense. Why should I worry about how I'm speaking or how I'll have to put it? Why should I probably beautify it? How should I make it elegant and all? A lot of people have this position. What I'm telling makes sense. That's it. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. But sometimes, not just what you say, but how you say also is equally important. Very, very important, in fact, especially when you're going for interviews, when you're presenting yourself, when you're in a team, and all these aspects will give you a wonderful impression in the way you talk, not just what you talk. That is how actually you leave an impression on people, and that is how first impressions also get created. Now, I'll tell you a small example of this concept. Why is it that only not what you speak, but how you speak is also equally important? So again, a small story. So once there was a priest, and there were two friends actually. Okay, there were two friends. So these two friends challenge each other. The challenge is very simple. Each of them, one after the other, will go to a and will ask the father of the church one question. Whoever walks out of the church with the answer yes wins the challenge. Okay, so simple. They go to the church, they ask the father of the church a question, and whoever walks out of the church with the answer yes, they are going to win the challenge. Okay, the first friend goes, he goes and he asks this question to the father, and the question is, first friend goes and says, Father, can I smoke while I pray? Okay, can I smoke while I pray? Now, what would the answer of the father be? Definitely no. So the first friend comes out, said no, he has not been the challenge. The second friend goes into the church, the same father. He asks the same question, but in a different way. He asks, Father, can I pray while I smoke? Father, can I pray while I smoke? Now, what is the answer for this? Of course, yes. So the second friend walks out of the church with the answer yes, and he has won the challenge. So the point here is not just what you say. Sometimes how you say to convince a person, to persuade a person, to sell yourself matters a lot. So don't just stick to the ideology that okay, I have my content, what I say is okay, is good. So maybe I need not, maybe fine tune it or refine it, and I can just present it in that rugged fashion. Not really. You can actually take that effort to fine tune it and refine it and polish it, and then present it beautifully to the other person. It's going to leave a huge impression on yourself. Right? So that is one, not just what you say, but sometimes it is very, very crucial. Now, when I was talking to one of the organizers who got in touch with me for arranging this session, I was talking about the college, and I was talking about what is the age group of students who are attending this, and how is it going to help them and all. So I learned that it is going to be second years undergraduate students, if I'm not wrong. So I was so happy when I heard that. I was very, very happy and delighted when Aishwarya actually told me that it is going to be second year undergraduate students. The reason why I was very happy and delighted was it is the right time for you guys to be learning all this or listening to all this. I could have heard it long back, but now it is perfect time for you guys now. Lot of us after graduating, going to jobs, struggling with our careers, learning technologies, learning the job stuff, and then simultaneously focusing on these life skills. Somehow we're all messed up after this 25, 26 years of age, and then as you keep growing, it keeps getting more and more difficult. But for you guys, absolutely perfect timing. And then I really appreciate you guys for that. The reason why I'm saying is this is not an overnight process. It is not like a short-term course. Like, okay, 3 months I'm going to do this. I'll become a better speaker, and then I'm going to stop. I'm going to focus on my career and studies. No, it will never work that way. It is a lifelong journey. It's an never-ending process. You cannot just say, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm done with this skill. Okay, I'm done. I don't have to focus on it. I don't have to work on it. No, it doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. There are some people who are really good. I agree. They're absolutely good at communicating and all this language skills. Some people are good, but most people think, now let go that thinking. Most people think they are good. I have come across many people, hundreds of people who think they are good. And with that, they get this ego. No, not required. It's a lifelong learning process. In fact, not just this, whatever you're learning, don't just stop it saying, okay, I'm done with it. Maybe not. There are some people who are really good at whatever you're trying to do. Okay, so it's a lifelong process. It's very, very, very gradual. It's not like losing weight. Okay, 3 months diet followed. I lost 10 kgs. Done. No, it's not going to happen. In fact, dieting is also a lifelong process. You stop eating or you do dieting for 3 months, and then after that again you start eating all pizzas and burgers. It doesn't make sense, is it? So even this learning language is a lifelong process. Keep improving on a daily basis, and now or never. This is the funda for me, especially if I were your age and someone told me all this, it would have been now or never. And I have time, I have the energy, I have the tools. You guys are so lucky. You have smartphones in your hands. When we were in our graduation, there were no smartphones, and forget internet. Okay, so there are a lot of tools, a lot of sources available for you, and this is the right time. So I remember this wonderful quote. They say, train a tree when it is young. Train a tree when it is young. Because once it grows, becomes a huge, bulky tree, the bark is so thick, you can't bend it, you can't train it. Now, we're all saplings. And I think we're always young. We're never too old. We should never be too old to learn anything new. So, train a tree when it is young. We're all young. Because of the transitions happening in and around us. My dad used to tell me he walked to school 4 kilometers every day. He walked to school. Okay, and I went to school in a school bus. Okay, this transition makes sense. My dad walked to school like 30 years ago, and when I was a kid, there was a time difference of 30 years, and it makes sense for this transition to happen in 30 years, walking to school and going in a school bus. Perfect. But you look at the trend now. 5 years ago, nobody could imagine we could actually, have 1.5 GB data per day. Impossible. Not even 5 years, 3 years ago, not so possible. And then thanks to Geo, and nobody 10 years ago would have thought smartphones or the mobile devices would become so integral into our lives, integral part of our lives. Definitely not. Now you cannot live without it. So rapid transitions. Every 2 years there's a disruption happening. A lot of things are changing, and we'll have to be adaptable to a lot of uncertainty. Going forward. So with this, we need these life skills, which are very, very important. And I call them life skills because they keep traveling along with you till the end. They don't stop anywhere, and you don't have to stop anywhere. All right. Okay. Last 5 to 7 minutes, I'm going to take and tell you my mantras. Something that I follow. Something that gives me a lot of push to do whatever I'm trying to do. First thing is I really believe in this, the 3C model. Okay, if you have a pen, paper, doesn't matter if you're not having, you can probably get back to the recording sometime. But remember, 3Cs: content, confidence, and communication. Content, confidence, communication. Striking a balance or having a balanced approach for these three, you will be a very, very successful person. Content, confidence, and communication. Now, what is content? Content is not something, when you're writing an essay or a story, that is not it. That's a different content. For me, content is whatever you do is your content. You're an engineer. You're a computer engineer. Making applications or as a developer, that is your content. Your technology is your content. You're an MBA grad, finance MBA grad. So probably finance is your content. Your skill, your something that gives you bread and butter. That is your content. Content is very important. Whatever your content is, without content having anything else makes no sense. So to be successful, content is very, very important. Whatever it is, your personal choice, it is very important. For a cricketer, cricket is his content. So he needs to have the mastery, he needs to have the confidence to play that game. All right. So first is content. Second is confidence. I'll come back to confidence. Third is communication. We have discussed enough about communication. Now, content, communication, there's a beautiful link between these two. You have amazing content. You have a lot of knowledge. You have a lot of skills about a particular thing, your particular domain. It gives you confidence. Your content gives you confidence. But you have less communication, again, the confidence goes down. So the other way is also true. You have extraordinary communication skills. You can go and give speeches anywhere in front of thousands of people. Super. But your content is a little less. Maybe when you go to work after giving a wonderful speech, you go back to work and then you're struggling there. People are not accepting what you're doing. Again, your confidence comes down. So probably a balance between content and communication, the confidence automatically shoots up and you're going to have an amazing, amazing journey going forward. So this is something that I learned. Just having one thing will not help. And then don't tell me that, sir, how can we have two things? No. You can have whatever you dream of. What's stopping you? Who told you that you can't? I don't believe that. So this again came from my mentor. I used to go to him and I used to tell him, it's not working. Maybe I'll have to compromise on a few things. I'm taking too many things on my plate. So maybe I'm not able to do this. But he comes and he just asked me one question. Srikhar, why do you think that you can't do everything at once? Why do you think that you can't achieve all of these things? Are you so less capable of all this? It made me think, and yes, actually, right since childhood, you have worked so hard, so many exams, so many hours, so much preparation, so many studies. You can actually do it. So don't believe that you can't. All right. So content, confidence, communication, striking a balance, amazing success. Now, second mantra that I would like to share is the 3Ps. 3Cs are done, 3Ps. If you would have listened to my introduction, whoever read it, I'm sorry, I don't know the name. The person actually mentioned passion, perseverance, and patience. Now, my father and our generation, our previous generation, they all regret for not following their passion. They all regret for not following their passion. Maybe someone was a very good singer, someone was a very good dancer, but they could not follow their passion because of the circumstances, and then they ended up doing 9-to-5 jobs. They regret not following the passion. I tell you what, future, our generation is going to regret not having found a passion. It's going to happen. We would regret not having found a passion in our early days. So find a passion, take out time, do different things. You never know what you're getting talent. Keep trying, and then maybe you find your passion, go for it. There's no stopping. So have a passion. If you're passionate about anything, you are never going to stop. If you're passionate about learning a language, improving your communication skills, or becoming an effective communicator, there is no stopping. You will go to any extent. You will do anything that takes, and then you're going to definitely achieve it. Next is perseverance. Perseverance is not giving up. You have passion. It's a byproduct. Perseverance is a byproduct of passion. See, a lot of filmmakers, a lot of actors who are struggling, they don't give up. They start off with small roles. They keep climbing the ladder, and then they become huge stars. It's not like overnight stars. Okay, nowadays people are going viral overnight and then they're becoming stars, and next day again they're falling down. That's a different story. But you look at all the successful actors, they all start very small. They have the passion, they have the perseverance, then they become these huge superstars. It is not an overnight journey. Perseverance, and with perseverance, you need patience. It's not going to happen just like you think, and then overnight it's not going to happen. You need patience. You need patience, and definitely things will happen. So, someone said me, when opportunity knocks your door, open the door. It's wonderful. Whenever opportunity knocks my door, rings a bell, I will definitely open the door. But this competitive world, this era we are living, not always will an opportunity knock your door. If it is not knocking your door, you break the window, break the door, go out, get out, grab the opportunity and chase it. Don't stop. All right. So this is something again I learned. You don't sit inside and wait for an opportunity. You go explore. There are a lot of sources. You want something, go for it, and there is no stopping. You can definitely do it. Okay, these are my mantras, the three C's and three P's. Now, one last thing I would like to say, these times that we're all going through, a lot of uncertainty, lot of questions in our head. What is going to happen 2 months down the line, 3 months down the line, 1 year down the line? What's going to happen tomorrow? A lot of things happening in this year 2020. So God came, and then all humans were praying for a miracle to happen, and God came. God appeared in front of them, and God gave all humans of the planet Earth two chicks. Okay, chick one and chick two. God said, "Dear humans, whenever you're in tough times, whenever the day is not as expected, whenever you're having a difficult time, whenever you're sad, open chit one and read, and there will be a message from me." Wonderful. And he said, whenever you're extremely happy, whenever you think you've conquered the world, this is the day of my life. Open chit two, and there'll be a message for you. All right, 2020 started, lockdown started, humans opened chit one, and God said to humans, "This too shall pass." Then protests happened across the world. Lot of things, lot of protests were happening. Again, humans opened. It read, "This too shall pass." Then again, some accidents, some fire accidents, and some gas leakages happening, and some chemicals getting exploded, flight accidents, whatever, all the bad things were happening. Humans opened chit one, and it was written, "This too shall pass." Now imagine, I really want this to happen. End of 2020, December 31st, vaccine arrives. All right, vaccine arrives, and then all of us are elated, all of us are excited, very, very happy. And then all of us, God said that you'll have to open chit 2. Now we open chit 2 and read. And what would it say? "This too shall pass." All right, so the reason why I'm saying this is, let's not wait for things to happen. Let's not wait for 3 months, 1 year, what's going to happen. Take each day at a time. Focus on what we have to do. Focus on our abilities, and then we have the energy to do it. We are all blessed to have the energy, have the tools, have the people around us, especially. So I wish you all the very best, and then keep going, keep the energy up, and thank you once again for the wonderful opportunity. Over to you, moderator. I think we can open up for questions. Aishwarya or anyone, are we here? We are open for questions. I'm not sure how this works, but yeah. Okay.
Good evening, sir. That was very nice webinar, and it was very interactive. We enjoyed it. So, from the student side, they have posted a few questions. So, we've
Sure.
selected few, and we're asking you that.
Okay.
So, the first question is, who would you describe as a good, effective communicator?
Okay. Thanks, Ashwini. So, a good effective communicator is not someone who speaks very fast, who is not someone who uses fancy words and all the rich vocabulary. For me, okay, you're having those skills, that's fine. Is not a very good speaker. If you look at all the Americans or the foreigners speak their native language called English, they speak very slow. It is us who try to run. Our rates of speech are always high. All right. For me, an effective communicator, like I said, is someone who's able to communicate what needs to be communicated in a timely manner and without loss of information and in the right way. That's it. The first segment of my session. That is how I define. I'll give you an example. What happened to me a few years ago, where it was kind of a tight slap for me when someone questioned effective communication. So I'll tell you a simple example. My boss asked me to, we were conducting interviews in our organization, and some person had come for the interview. Now I was coordinating these interviews for all these people. Now this person comes for the interview, and he sits for the technical round. All right. Now once the technical round is over, he has to go to some other building to attend the HR round of interview. Now my job was to tell him that after the interview, please go to the other building so that your HR interview can be scheduled. Now, my boss told me that you stay there, and once the interview is over, accompany him and tell him, or you can tell him beforehand only that you go to this building. Now, I before the interview started, I told him, boss, once your technical round is over, you have to go to this building, and you have to go to this building. That's all I said. I didn't say HR round, nothing. I just said you have to go to this building. Now, this person, after the technical interview, he went to that building. He signed off and he left. He waited for 5 minutes. He signed off and he left. He thought that, okay, probably that is how I'll have to exit from my campus. Now, after the technical round, we were all searching for this guy in the entire campus, and he was not there. And we called him, and he said, sir, you said that is the exit, so I went. So my boss called me and said, see, that is not effective communication. You'll have to tell him so clearly and so concisely that he need not question once again. He need not call you once again and ask you what he needs to do and where he needs to go. So for me, that is effective communication. Nothing else. Right message, the message at the right time, in the right fashion, without loss of information is effective communication. Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is, what role do you think facial expressions, gestures, and pauses play in communication?
Absolutely. Okay, good question. Thank you for bringing this up. All right. Non-verbal communication is very, very crucial for your interpersonal. When you're talking with someone in person, maybe not through phone or matter, but especially when you're talking to someone face to face, your body speaks. Remember, your body speaks. Your hand, your legs, your face, your eyebrows, your eyes, every part of your body speaks. Even before you convey your message, these tell the listener that, okay, what is your personality, what is your background. It is easy for someone to judge you just based on the way you speak or what you speak. You might be an amazingly talented, at whatever your content is, but when you speak in a certain way, the impression is totally opposite. So your body speaks. Now, my suggestion would be, I keep telling this to a lot of people. The last thing you would want to do to yourself is fake as being someone else. Never ever fake. You have to be a natural, your facial expressions, your gestures, everything has to be natural and have to be natural. All right. So don't try to imitate someone saying, okay, I watched this person speak in a certain fashion, I'm going to try to imitate. No, it doesn't work. Some or the other day, people are going to find out that you're faking, especially an interview is going to cost you a lot. Very, very huge. So don't fake being someone, but try to get them naturally. Keep practicing, keep observing yourself, and then probably you can video record if you would like to, and So this thing again, when someone says go in front of a mirror and speak with yourself, see how you are speaking, see your facial expressions and all. Now, my mentor again told me that's a very very ridiculous idea. You talk to yourself in a mirror. It is only giving you a reflection. It is not giving you feedback. You video record your speeches, you video record whatever activity you're doing, and then look at it. It gives you feedback. Probably you can share it with someone who can give you feedback. So that is a good way of getting feedback. Simply talking will not give you feedback. All right, so you can do all these things. Yeah.
Thanks, sir. The next question is, has the development of internet and social media caused a change in the way we communicate?
Absolutely. It has changed in the way we communicate. Yes. In what way? We are no longer writing. We are no longer writing messages. We are no longer expressing ourselves completely. We are most of the times arguing or avoiding an argument. That's all. Especially you take WhatsApp or you take social media, Facebook, or all these instant messages. You're not writing messages. You're not writing everything you want to convey and then clicking on send. You're writing, hi, hello, and then you're waiting for the response. So this instant messaging has somehow is kind of degrading our communication. So my suggestion, if you want to convey, if you want to express something, write the entire message and then one line, it doesn't help you much. And then even when you're writing, 90% of the times you're not writing in English, we're writing in our mother tongues. That's okay. And that's a personal choice. Now, even I text to my friends in English, I text to them in English, suddenly writing wonderful words and all. Even they're going to give it back to me. Acha, okay, now this guy is showing off his skills and all. I understand. Practically, not possible, but at least I would suggest email writing is very, very helpful in these aspects if you really want to improve. What happens when you write an email? You convey, you express. You don't argue. That is one. And second, what I believe is we are losing patience because of instant messaging. There is no patience. Now you write a message, hi, where are you? Hi, how are you? You want a reply instantly. Especially if the person has seen blue tick marks, done. Reply has to be there. You're losing patience. You're not being patient. Now, when I compare this, when they were not together, when maybe my dad went to some camp or something on office purpose, they should write letters to each other. And for the letter to reach from one place to the other place, from one place to other place, it used to take at least a week. And they had the patience to wait for a week for a reply. Now, we can't wait so long. Now, somehow all these things, social media, that's a different topic altogether. We can talk about it for hours together. But yeah, it is good. We are having social media. It is very, very helpful. But we'll have to be very, very cautious and careful when we're using it. Use it in the right purpose, it's a boon. It's a blessing. If you're using it in the wrong way, equally a curse. Yeah.
Last and final question is, do you believe that students in courses train themselves?
Ashwini, can you repeat that? I didn't quite get that. There was some static in between.
Question is, do you believe students could benefit from communication courses? And during times like the pandemic, how do we train ourselves from home?
Okay, good. These aspects, you're already conducting a session, you're already conducting a week full of sessions. Kudos to you. That's a wonderful job. Now, the first part of the question, if the communication skills courses or all the tools that we're having, are they really helpful? That's a wonderful question. I really appreciate whoever asked this question. Now, if I want to learn a technology, I want to learn a tool, I want to learn about commerce, I want to learn a concept, the internet is a wonderful platform. Our generation is blessed to have this facility where you can just Google. There are thousands of videos on each topic, paid courses, unpaid courses. You're going to get this knowledge immensely. Wonderful. No doubt about that. To learn something. Now, if you ask, like I said, all these skills that we're talking about, these are life skills. Now, this is not something you can directly learn from the internet. Internet will guide you. What all the YouTube videos you'll watch on communication, TED Talks, how storytelling and all, they will guide you. They will tell you, okay, this is the way you can do it. But to be honest, it has to come from within. Like I said, if you have the passion, if you develop love for it, it will be beautiful. So think of it as love marriage. If you love the person, you want to stay there. Don't think of it as arranged marriage. Marriage is slightly complicated. Okay. Jokes apart. So you fall in love with it. You're there with it. You will definitely, no matter what, no matter the pandemic, no matter what is will come rain or high water, hell or high water, you're going to definitely stick with it. So don't worry about it. Fall in love with it. And second thing is, when you fall in love with it, you're going to stick with it. You're going to find your own way. That is the beauty of it. When you have a passion for something, you're going to find your own way of doing it. And then someday you're going to come and take sessions for your college as an alumni. Talking about alumni, I was reading about the alumni of Ethiraj, and wow, you guys are part of a legacy. So many successful people from this college, and you guys are definitely part of this legacy. Be proud of it, and then probably maybe in some time in future, we'll have more actors, politicians, civil service toppers from this college. Yeah.
Mr. Shrikar, that was a very informative session, and it was also like a motivational speech for the students to enrich themselves and to come up well with communication. But one of the explanations that you gave for an effective communication, right message given at the right time without missing out on any information. So how do you develop on this skill? Do you mean to say that they have to rehearse in their minds before they speak? Because if they miss out on even a single word, or even if they replace a word with something else, then it is going to be a miscommunication, or at times they will do. So how do they come out of this? Do you have any suggestion?
Yeah, sure, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, when I said right message at the right time without loss of information. Now, when we want to develop this skill, one thing I would really want all of us to do is empathize. If we have empathy, if you're seeing it from the listener's perspective, if you're, when you're talking, or when you're presenting, or when you're writing something, you go to the receiving end. You put yourself in that person's shoes who is receiving that message, and then you see, if this message is what I'm getting as a receiver, is it making sense? Is it enough for me to understand, to comprehend, and to make sure the information is not lost? So empathy is again an amazing skill, man. These days, a lot of leadership courses, a lot of leaders are getting focused. A lot of organizations, in fact, are focusing a lot on empathy. Empathy is nothing but putting yourself in the other person's shoes, and trying to see the situation, trying to see the scenario from that perspective. So if you're doing that, automatically you empathize with yourself. You want more clarity in whatever you're trying to say. You want more conciseness in whatever you're trying to speak, and you want it to be effective. And that is how you automatically develop the skill of effective communication. And talking about words, missing out on words. So, ma'am, again, I believe, if at all I need to give a tip or suggestion how to focus on speaking effectively, my take would be practice phrases. You don't have to have lengthy, complicated sentences. Simple English phrases will do your job. Now, English phrases, you can just Google. There are wonderful courses online, wonderful YouTube videos. English phrases, simple English phrases. If you are able to communicate effectively with these phrases, your job is done. Later on, automatically you will keep listening to a lot of other ways of communicating. You'll observe a lot of, again, observation is very, very key. When you're listening to someone who is speaking effectively, you know that person is speaking effectively. You know that person is, maybe better than what you are at what stage you are. Try and learn, observe how it is being done. Be curious, be a little selfish, and that's how you actually become effective. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah. Over to the Students' Union.
As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. I quote and unquote John F. Kennedy. Mr. Speaker, principals, vice principals, heads of the departments, teachers, and my fellow Ethirajians, on behalf of the Students' Union, I, Varsha Vasudevan, the Joint President, deem it an honor and privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this special day. Firstly, I thank God Almighty for His blessings and guidance. I thank our speaker for the day, Mr. Shrikar, for taking his precious time out to share his thoughts and ideas on the topic, becoming an effective communicator, skills for everyday. Thank you for being with us today. It means a lot, sir. I'm immensely grateful to our principal, Dr. E.S. Koti, Vice Principal Aided, Dr. D.B. Usharani, Vice Principal Self-Supporting, Dr. T. Usha Priya, Dean of Students Aided, Dr. T. Punitavati, Dean of Students Self-Supporting, Dr. Anusha Balasingh, for their support and encouragement in all our endeavors. I hereby acknowledge the office bearers, Lavanya S. President, Keetana R. Joint Vice President, RPED General Secretary, Varsha M. Joint General Secretary, Joint Treasurer of Etraj Students Union 2021 for their involvement and willingness to make this webinar a huge success. I would also like to share my special thanks to the Association Secretary and class representatives of various departments for helping us in every possible for attending today's webinar. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Aitraj. It's been a wonderful opportunity. And all the very best, everyone. You guys are doing a fantastic job in these tough times and keep up the energy. Thank you so much once again.